Okay, today we're going to talk about reticulated python lifespan and how to plan appropriately. As we see these two sitting in the windowsill, being very well behaved. Alright, cue the music. Hello! What have we got going on today? Alright, we're going to be talking about reticulated python lifespan. I'm going to pull one of our little stinkers out here. I was going to pull out the male, but he's pretty tucked away inside a box. So, moment please, as I pull out one of these stinkers. Let's see, y'all. Let's see here. Okay. All right. What do we got here? A big, beautiful Sulawesi reticulated python. All right, so today we're talking about reticulated python lifespan and how long they can live, or how long they live on average, and how you should plan accordingly. So, typically these guys live about, and on average, 25 to 30 years, which is probably longer than somebody might suspect when they're buying a pet snake. That's quite a long commitment to tie yourself to. So, if you're planning on getting a retic, or you're a new retic owner, that's something you want to take into consideration, because you're going to have this animal in your care for quite some time. This is kind of why I don't recommend youngsters, like teenagers, early 20-year-olds, to get reticulated pythons. I mean, unless it's your calling in life. If you're, the reincarnation of Brian Barczyk, then don't let me discourage you from following your dream. But for most people, they're really not that drawn or intense in making that, their life's purpose and mission. If you're just looking for a pet, it's best to hold off while you're in your younger years. Mainly because your life is not really set on a stable course yet in most situations. You've got a lot of kids going off to college at that age. You probably don't have a career path set in front of you. You're probably going to be moving. You're not settled into a house yet. Probably don't know where you're going to end up, where you're going to have to move for work or living. So, lugging a giant 100+ pound snake around with you as you're trying to figure out life is quite a chore, and this is how a lot of snakes end up getting rehomed. I know I learned from experience on this one. I was that youngster that rushed into buying a big python early on in life. The 14-year-old kid that wouldn't shut up and nag their parents to death until they let them buy a Burmese python. And lo and behold, I graduate high school, finish up junior college, and I have to go off to college elsewhere. I had to end up homing my big Burmese python. that I had had for about 5 or 6 years previous to that. Anyways, ideally you'd get one of these animals when you're settled down in life. Probably late 20s, early 30s is the ideal time. You've got things a little bit more under control, figured out, hopefully. Hopefully you're done with your college years by then. Hopefully you've settled into somewhat of a stable career path. I mean, not always at that age, but it's more likely. You got things a little more figured out. You've dealt with life situations probably. You're a little more ready to take on commitments at that age. Maybe you already have a family settled in. Your routine is settled in. Potentially. Anyways, with a 30-year commitment, that's probably the best time to figure things out. Also, you got the opposite end of that spectrum. If you're later in life, if you're late 40s, early 50s, and you're wanting to live out that lifelong dream of having a giant, beautiful python, you're going to have to hope and pray that you live a long, healthy life, or make early arrangements on what you want to do when you have to rehome it. Because I don't know too many 80-year-olds that are tending to giant carnivorous reptiles. Not too many nursing home patients bringing their giant reticulated python with them. Hopefully you've got, well, ideally you'd have family members that also share your hobby. If you've got kids or grandkids, yeah, that's a good idea. Get the bug into your kids and grandkids early, the retic bug, and that way you can just hand your reptiles down to them. That'd be an ideal situation, I guess. Anyways, you just want to consider these things. The fact that these animals live a very long time, and that's just the average. You could have an outlier that lives, who knows, 40 years, 40 plus years. So it's quite a long commitment. This girl's only a little over 2 now. My oldest is coming up on 6 years old. My youngest is going to be coming up on a year old. Here at the end of September, my big girl will be 6. Sometime in November, my youngest will turn a year old. So we'll do birthday updates on everybody. This girl just turned, or she didn't turn 2, but she hit her 2-year anniversary with me here. She's looking beautiful. She's actually in shed right now. She's in shed. She just ate a giant meal. It's pretty much fully digested. Gonna try not to disturb her too much as I get her back into her house. But hopefully in a couple weeks we'll have her out. Get her out into some sunshine for some good footage for freshly out of shed again. Just seems to be happening quite often. She's hitting some growth spurts. Getting big and heavy. Anyways, that's it for this video. I think we covered everything in regards to retics and their lifespan. Maybe not everything, but the main things that we wanted to cover here. Alright. We'll see y'all later. God bless.